Ta-da! Ich freue mich. Okay, we are going to do this in English. I just said I'm very happy because this one will be a first in the sense that it's the first time that I actually interview you as my sister, and I guess maybe there's a little introduction, but this video or interview is more about silver linings. And that's why I wanted to do it. Because it's about silver linings, and the reason why we do it in English is because we had the last 2 years a project, and I live in England and you live in Germany, and we have international friends. So we were thinking German or English, but we decided for English. But it will be about silver linings, and silver linings. So yes, it will also be a bit emotional probably at times because it will be a reflection. But what I noticed with the project, that what we had, but then also with what I've learned over the last 2 years, is that resilience topic. And you've mastered it, frankly, and that's what I want to share and want people to know. How can you go with a positive mindset through a difficult time when you're diagnosed with cancer or with a serious illness? And then it's your version, which I love people to know, but then it's also obviously my version of silver linings, as in what are the things that I've changed and I've done and would never have done in any case if you wouldn't have been diagnosed. Yeah. And we're talking about the positive ones, right? So silver linings with a positive context. And the reason why I actually love it that it's today, and it wasn't, this interview was scheduled in a sense that obviously we was like, let's do it today, because we're meeting only for 24 hours.
Less than 24 hours.
Less for 24 hours.
No matter what.
In a wonderful place, a hotel. Yes, we can't be outside because it's 13th of February and because it's 2 years on the day. Exactly on the day. 2 years ago, we started the 1 million hours Instagram. Yep. The first post went out 2 years ago. So, yeah.
Happy birthday.
It's a bit like happy birthday. So it will be a bit emotional. I will ask you quite a few questions. Mm-hmm. You use it as you didn't hear the questions, just a spoiler. There will be positive stories, but there'll probably be. Well, you never had the questions before, but obviously I gave you the briefing, and yeah. So I guess one first. Sorry, and I have my notes obviously. One first one that I wanted to. Do I have my notes? I should have. One first one that I wanted to know is like, if you describe yourself, like maybe give the picture of describing yourself, what type of person you've been before the diagnosis, like just to explain who you were, how old, what would be a typical day or month look like. That would be an interesting one to start.
Before my diagnosis, I was, let's say, open-minded, not too deeply into why I'm doing things like I'm doing them, not the same stage of reflection I have now. What was my typical day I was working, I was childless. I'm still childless, but it's like, you have to mention I'm not a mother, and I loved living the life, and I always had ideas, but I wasn't, let's say, concerned about the purpose or anything like that. So I was like, having a happy life, but not thinking about it. I would describe it that way.
And you were, because the diagnosis was December
21st,
and you were, that we're talking 2020,
yes,
the year that, just to recap, the year of lockdown. We have, all of us, as in like worldwide, have spent time in lockdown, and obviously which had different aspects and impacts on each of us. But it was December, and I remember that vividly, obviously, as you do, is that, and you repeated that multiple times, it was that year that everybody wanted to finish.
Yeah.
Like everybody was looking forward to, let this year be over. 2021 can only get better than this. Yeah. Like let this. And then December 21st came the diagnosis. And
4 days prior Christmas. And I just coincidentally, yesterday I was looking through Instagram, and I just learned it was a second lockdown in Germany started December 16th. It was a late decision because people weren't sure to shut down everything during Christmas. So on December 21st, I got my diagnosis, and I had the next. It was just days something, but not what. I had the next appointment on December 27th, exactly when Christmas and holidays in Germany were finished. So there, the biopsy happened. So I still didn't know how serious it is. Just going on with some things to check. And on January 5th or 4th, I got the information pretty worse, pretty shitty. And having that time between Christmas and the information where that is a transition phase I can tell. There's the biggest change, because that are the 2 weeks where I changed the most, but I prepared to do so. Yeah.
I guess that's it. So, and maybe just for people who may see this, and so we're talking cancer, we're talking breast cancer, we're talking what we've learned over the last 2 years, like a form, because there's 7 or 8 different forms of breast cancer, a form which is not easy to just get rid of with one therapy, because it's a more genetic, cellular form of breast cancer. And yeah, it was so those 2 weeks, obviously, they were like, you've been in limbo, we all been in limbo. I got the call, and I knew exactly that this is not going to be a good call. And then what happened when you said transition? Because you prepared mentally for in lockdown, which was a good part.
For me personally, yes. Yeah.
You already had a build-up of how can I get through lockdown in a positive mindset without going mad.
Yeah.
And you had those morning walks which you started before your diagnosis.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, to wrap it up, because now it's 2 years. A lot of times I was asked, "What did you do? How can you be so resilient? How can you be so strong?" There were 3 points I discovered in the first phase. Let's call it first phase, because just to spoiler that, I still have to work on my health. For some reason, I started changing my life quite a year before. It was the first day of lockdown in 2020. It was March 17th. I know it so exactly because that was the day I started writing a diary. I'm counting the days since then. And I got a coaching that was initiated of my own, from my own, and with that coaching I really sorted out a lot of things. I thought I would be healthy, but I wasn't. To that time I didn't know I had cancer, but I changed a lot of habits. I did this daily walks. I did a lot for my health. I understood I was working on my mental and my physical and psychological health, and but it was in a, let's say, in a really rather quite nice way. But this is the first thing. I tidied up my life before I got my diagnosis, because I learned once you have this diagnosis, you start tidying up your life, but you have to concentrate on getting healthy again. Second thing is, at that time I always said I didn't have metastasis. And I thought that would be like a good thing. Spoiler here in that regards, it's not a matter of fact in which station you are in cancer. You can somehow get the information. It can be as worse as possible, but you have to work with the information. So the first column is having tidied up the life, getting information and do something with the information, and not running on information all the time. Take the information and think for yourself, what do you want to do? And the third thing is, I decided to be as transparent and open as possible. I told everybody, because for me there was no reason. I knew I would have changed a lot from body-wise, and I was transparent with that. I told everybody, and from being able to tell what are my concerns, and I really, frankly spoken, since then I answered all the questions, no matter how tough the questions were. I realized I would have helped my surrounding, my surrounded people with that. So I was deciding to be as open as possible. That are the 3 things.
And they are like obviously they're great, right? So, and then, but I guess maybe for me the examples how you did it, and that's just to give people examples and who haven't been part of that journey, is like on. Well, I think it was December still, maybe January. You started a WhatsApp group.
Yeah, January.
With the 7 most important people that you felt are needed for you, and they like to really go through this with you. You called it Triple X. We all made what I guess that WhatsApp group was so important, so vital for anything that came later, because it was 7 friends, strong
Wonderful
friends,
woman, yeah.
trying to encourage you, but then also each other to support you going through this, and just essentially saying we do this together. And in that WhatsApp group, we laughed and we shared jokes, and we came up with ideas like what could we do today. And I guess that's one thing, that one of the reasons why we wanted to go more, I guess, public, transparent, is because the experts, one of the things the experts told you, like the doctors but also experts in the field, is no matter what, go outside every single day. And obviously that's how the whole 1 million hours group initially started. So what can we do to encourage you and each other, because we're in this together, to go outside every single day? And then we came up with these ideas, right? So like we had the obviously sunrises.
You were
and
asking me, what can I do to help you? And I said, I need to be outdoors every day. I need to move every day. And that's like how to motivate someone from a distance, because we live in 2 different countries. And that's like, it was like something happened and you got creative, and
there was, I mean, and I guess that's the thing. So like, it's not just about the person who has been diagnosed, it's also also the network and the people trying to come up with ideas, because you feel helpless, right? So like I was like, the diagnosis came and it was like, I'm not there, I can't make you a cup of tea, I can't fly over, I can't book a ticket. There's not much I can do, which is actually not true, because there's so much small things you can do. And I guess just to like, who was I? And I actually really had to think about, because I had to count. Like for me, it was like living in England, 2 little children. Remy was 1.5, Henry was 3.5 at that point. It was obviously winter, and I wasn't the outdoorsy person. Like we all like, really not like. I like being outdoors, but I was not a runner. I was not a like
hiker.
I would go out in lockdown every single day with Henry and Remy, because it was just critical for us to go out. But I wasn't an outdoorsy person. But then with the diagnosis, and I guess that's really what why I wanted to have this recap, is there's so many silver linings, so many things we've done, which we would never ever, like, because like, I mean, just on, and I did a list, right? It's a list. Why, I don't know why I do this, but there's a list.
It's a wonderful list.
It's an amazing list of silver linings. The things that we unlikely that wouldn't have happened, or with a low likelihood in your life. There's one list in your life, and I read out loud and then I'll ask you questions, right? So you, silver linings. I don't know which one I start. You changed jobs, first of all, which was a big deal.
Because I was dismissed.
Changed jobs, build up actually your new one, your own job project, which is incredible, which is hard, as everybody knows who started a business. Like the whole, like, how do I do this? How do I get things started? So you changed jobs, you started your own business on the side, whilst going through, I don't know how many chemos and appointments on a weekly basis and stuff like that. That's really incredible. You bought an apartment. I mean, literally, we obviously being
and my husband,
being sisters. Yes, you and your husband, but we have the same mindset. It's like we grew up with, we're renting so that we are more flexible, more free for places to go. So buying something was never really like anything, because it felt like, oh, then you're stuck in a place. So that was a huge change, buying an apartment as an investment, and obviously and not everybody can do this, obviously, but it was a decision-making process of like, gosh, it was never really on the charts, which now is really gives us stability, and it was amazing. What else? You wrote a book.
Yes.
You just mentioned you wrote a book. You started writing, which, I mean, honestly, you're incredible in writing, and the book is amazing. And well, and you well, the first time it was actually surprised. I didn't know that I knew that you wrote diary, but I didn't know that you're writing a book. And then surprised everyone on our celebrating life party, which is another thing that we wouldn't have done. We would never have
exactly.
have done a celebrating life party. So we got like 60 plus people together in one place after lockdown, obviously, just to celebrate life. There was no other reason. Yes, there was my birthday at some point, but that was like 4 months later. That was not really the reason anyway.
It's just.
But it was a celebrating life party, and then on this party, which was amazing because it was all about just dancing and having fun,
enjoying each other,
and enjoying the company of each other. On this party, she just said, "By the way, I have something to say. I wrote a book, and here's a copy for everyone," which was like, "What?"
I love the moment because I managed to make nearly everyone cry.
It was so incredible. So then the list goes on. Well, the other thing that we would never have done, I wouldn't, you wouldn't, is we started to go for runs together, with the fact that we actually had 10K. We're not talking marathon, right? So that's for other in a later stage. But 10K is a big deal for me and for you. We did a 10K in Berlin together, which was incredible.
And it was 10 days after I finished my radiation, my Bestrahlung.
Yeah.
It was 10 days only after my radiation.
Yeah, so 10 days after and that's pretty strong. Yeah. I mean, literally. So a 10K. And it was never about being a personal best. It was just like, let's just do 10K together and let's just do it together. And it was amazing. It was such a great experience. And that one, and thanks to obviously my husband here, he came up with this brilliant idea, like, when you are there, why don't you also go for a 10K run? Bizarrely. But he was right. It was the best thing we could have done because it was energetic. It gave us so much energy of doing this together, and then seeing all the inspirational people around you. Like, and you literally could tell that at least 8 out of 10 people are there for another reason, not just because they're fit, but for doing it for themselves or for someone else. They go for these runs to fight something else, for exactly that resilience topic. And then we did another one
this year,
and then we did another one. We went to Italy together.
The first time for me in Italy.
So I've never been to Italy, which is for some people surprising, but it just never happened. And then it's the first time Italy for you, and first time Venice, which is like, I've never been Venice. And then why not Venice and go for a 10K run?
It was the most incredible. One of the most incredible things ever. Yeah, it's because again this little trip was so many things in one, because our flights got cancelled.
Oh gosh, yeah. It looked like it wasn't supposed to happen. Honestly, literally, it looked like.
Many ways.
And I was just a few days before, I was like, I'm not sure this is gonna happen. It's not, like, something's here telling us, universe, this is either it's like 1 in a million that if this really happens, or it's just not meant to be. Because your flight got cancelled, my flight got cancelled, so we had to rebook 24 hours like
in advance,
to go to a place where lots of other 10,000 people want to go for exactly the same reason, for running a marathon or a 10K, because it was a combination of marathon, half marathon, and marathon, and Berlinale, Binale, sorry, and Binale. It was amazing. It would never have happened if the diagnosis would, because we would maybe have gone to Venice, but not for the same reasons.
I wouldn't have
not together.
Decided to go to Italy for some reason.
And that was just incredible. What else? I'm finished, because the list is long. That's what I mean. Like, this is a positive one, right? Because there's so many silver linings. Tattoo, exactly. So you got a tattoo.
Yeah, the idea was, I in my whole life I always loved watching tattoos, and because I have now huge scarves, I wanted to tattoo scarves, but I'm not allowed to due to health reasons. So, but I started to have tattoos. So I have got my first tattoo on her birthday, and the second one just a few weeks ago, because I wanted to have something like protection. And from going outside every day, I learned to see that the sunrise gives me the most energy ever. So every morning I walk and see the sun rising. It obviously does not happen every day, but every sunrise is giving me so much energy. And so I've got my tattoo with the 12 suns to give me the energy. So now we should turn to your list, because
Well, that's the thing. I guess my list was obviously the combination of doing things together, the runs and the Venice and stuff like that. It's like really high on my list. I bought a place as well,
around the corner from here.
which is where we are now. So we are in the area where we now have a small, tiny, wonderful apartment, which we never would have considered. It was it was probably a combination of lockdown. If we would have a place, we would have an ability to fly over. But then the reason why we, I guess, accelerated it and really we need to do this is because of the diagnosis.
Yeah.
Because we wouldn't have would have always been but maybe later, or but maybe it's too expensive, or maybe there's maybe in a different area. But now we have this wonderful place where we meet and can meet for 24 hours, luckily, to enjoy and to come back to. And I mean, it's just really nice. What else? Now I'm going for a run 3 times a week with my husband. So we just started that, which is amazing. Honestly, I was never a runner. It's for me the most boring thing to do. And now it's my time for myself to go out or to do it in company, have a walk and talk. The walk and talk series, obviously on 1 million hours, which was wonderful with so many really great people as well, worth mentioning. And yes, I started meditation and journaling, which I never did before, because I obviously had to go through this process. I started learning about cancer and what it means. And I guess in that context, it's not the biggest, but it's like this wonderful wrapper that I never thought would click and come together is the action for happiness part. Because that's those when we were looking for ideas, and it's not a program for action for happiness, as in it is, because we both like action for happiness, but it's just one of those things. Action for happiness has these activities and the monthly calendars, and every day a suggestion for something you can do to be positive, as in not positive, but to grow and more forward looking. They're not outdoorsy as such, all of them, but it's a combination. And so they sometimes have these wonderful ideas, which we used in the group to say, hey, how about you go outside today and take a picture of a flower or tree.
It's the small things that
Really small things, and then we shared pictures of trees, or we shared a picture of a sunrise or a sunset, or we were looking for the color of pink outside and stuff like that. And so action for happiness so we used it, and now I got in touch. I was a bit more active on the action for happiness side because it really helped me as a supporting person. And now I'm on week 6. So I'm now co-leading a 6 weeks course with Action for Happiness, which is wonderful. And it is really so, yes, I'm now part of the Action for Happiness course leading community, which never would have, and that gives me so much, in a sense, honestly, that's incredible to be able to then help others going through a tough time and trying to find ways to be more positive. So I guess that's the main of my list. I don't think we have the 1 million hours project, which we have been on and off recently, but not for reasons that we don't care anymore. It was just, I think, we lost logins because we dropped phones in lakes.
But we also have to admit, we were talking about my diagnosis, but we have to spoil in the moment. I'm 20 when I got the diagnosis, and 21 I ran through all my what is the word for therapies, and unfortunately 22, unfortunately also on her birthday, I got the information that the cancer is not beaten yet. So I'm still fighting, and to be honest, looking back now, comparing 21, 22 was even worse. It's because in 21, I thought I could become healthy again. In 22, I got the information I couldn't, but I'm still trying to be as resilient as possible because I now have changed my mind in regards of how to do continuously things that keep every day a wonderful day and that make you, I don't know, I don't want to sound too pathetic, but stay as long as possible. And that is in regards of, I have learned how to be relaxed every day. I'm not going to waste my energy. And so that I one day have to say, I need vacation, I need holidays. No, I want my life to be vacation. It's about good food. It's about doing good for yourself. If someone says it's not worth cooking for myself, I was the person before, and now I think like, oh, that's a pity because you're worth cooking for yourself. And most of it all,
you're worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm.
and most of it all, the one most important thing I've learned in 22 is no matter what, it doesn't matter if it's 10 minutes, it's 3 hours, it's 24 hours, it's always worth. Do a lot to see and hug and watch and kiss and talk to people. So that's it. That's my energy. So the point is, with such projects like 1 million hours outdoors, it's like, yeah, being outside is definitely one of the things that helps with every illness, as long as it's possible. Unfortunately, currently my knees, my bones are not very well because due to the therapy I'm taking now, I'm not able to run, but I have to work to run again, and I hope I will be able to run again, but still I'm able to walk. I'm able to be outside every time. So in regards of resilience, still the project of 1 million hours outdoors is helping me because it's the tiny things you can do. It's only the tiny things that give the majority of energy. If you buy something, you will have it, but there is no way to gain it anymore. But if you look forward to things, if you stay active, if you have plans, and on that way, do the tiny things that make your heart bump a little bit faster.
That's nice. That is nice. I think that's a good almost finish. One thing that I wanted to ask, which is on my list, and that's maybe because there's these. I do when I go outside. I do listen to those Apple Time to Walk episodes. There's really nice Time to Walk episodes on Fitness Plus or something. And what they do is they always at the end mention a song which is important for them. They actually do 3, so you can pick. But if you can say 1, 2, or 3 songs, have a think. Is there one that comes to your mind which was important during that time, or it means a lot to you at the moment?
Yeah.
And why?
Okay, I can tell you. Song number 1 is is from Boy. I've got tattooed. This is the beginning of Anything You Want. It's because you introduced me. This band is a Hamburg band, two ladies, amazing. We went to concert together, and this is the beginning of Anything You Want. And song number 2 is King from Florence and the Machine, because that has such an energy that really is amazing. And yeah. And song number 3, I just have to be careful not crying. It's just recently Queen got a new song. I missed the title. It's something like you have to cope it it's all on your own. And the things Freddie Mercury sings, the things he's singing about, is absolutely true, because in the end you have to face it all on your own. And it's definitely helpful to have a huge surrounding, people motivating you, but you can have as many friends around you. Everything, all your concerns, all your thoughts, all your worries are inside you. If you're not able to manage them with the things you understand that help you, these people around you will not be able to help you. You have to understand yourself. And all the sentences he is singing in this song are like,
Oh,
yeah.
we'll look it
So
up.
yeah, you have to be prepared to listen to this song for the first time. So these are the three songs. Yeah.
Nice. Thank you. That's. I think that's a wrap. That's a wonderful finish. Thank
Before I start
you.
crying.
Before I start crying. So that's why I wanted to have this.
Love you.
I wanted to have this on video. That's why.
For me crying.
No, not because of crying.
Just it.
That's it.
Thank you, Fabi.
Update.
Love you.
Bye bye.